We are live. Wonderful. Thank you for joining us for the inaugural webinar from Root Cause Marketing. We are a digital marketing agency working exclusively for functional medicine doctors and integrative medicine specialists. We are so glad to be here with you today to launch this series of educational webinars focused on marketing your health practice without stress and overwhelm. I'm Jennifer Wenzel.
And I'm Landy Miyake. Today, we're excited to welcome our guest, Joanne Hernan. Joanne is a social media maven and an accomplished marketing and sales leader with over 17 years of experience. With her expertise in growth hacking techniques, Joanne has helped integrative health practitioners and organizations hit their goals through strategic campaigns. Her agency, Growth Ledge Agency, is the marketing arm for the Academy of Integrative Health and Medicine, helping them through many marketing strategies, including social media. Hi, Joanne.
Hi, everybody. I'm glad to be
Welcome.
here and excited to talk about Instagram. I wanted to talk to all of you today about how to diagnose your Instagram symptoms and what the path to wellness is. We realize as marketers how frustrating Instagram can be, but it's such a great tool to use. But just a little bit more. I know we did a little intro about us, but I just want a little bit more information about who we are as an agency. We provide social media services to healthcare providers, functional medicine, integrative doctors, and healers. So we are really zeroed in on what techniques work the best for them. And so with our programs, we're able to help our clients build flawless reputations online, which is so important. And also to build that trust with their ideal audiences. So now we are not just providing social media or marketing services, but now we are looking at building out material and classes where we are going to start to give away all of our agency secrets. So here are some of our clients we talked about. As I mentioned, we're really focused on working with doctors and within the wellness industry. But I wanted to talk to you a little bit about some of the really important statistics you may not be aware of about social media for health. So over 75% of Americans use social media to research their health symptoms. May seem a little scary, but it's true. So they are looking for information about their health on their social media outlets and in Instagram. More than 80% of patients will look at a provider's or practice reviews on social media. So if they get referred by another person, they will look you up on your social media. 90%, oops, let's go back here. Got click happy there. 90% of individuals aged 18 to 24 say they trust medical information that they see on their feeds. So it's important to be very accurate and authentic. And we're going to talk a lot about authenticity. So the conclusion is that social media is really an effective tool to grow your practice. And we're going to focus on Instagram today. And the reason why I want to focus on Instagram is because it's such a great network that really you can grow really quickly. Facebook is a lot slower. Twitter is really focused on news. LinkedIn is really more of a B2B tool. TikTok is really all about videos and it's a much younger audience. But Instagram is this really great sweet spot. And with the Instagram algorithm, you really are able to grow your audience and build a loyal following. So let's talk a little bit about what are the 3 factors that make a great Instagram. So the first thing is influence. Now, I'm sure you've heard of influencers, and those are people who may have really large Instagram followings or social media followings.
I know I can name a few. I'm thinking
Yes.
the Kardashians. That's the first thing that jumps into my head.
Yes, yes. And there are, but having an enormous following isn't what I mean by this influence. What I mean is that you have a loyal audience who you are influencing through your content. And we'll get into more details about that. Engagement is also very important. So you can have a very small but engaged audience who are interacting with your content, who are signing up for your programs, who are making comments. So engagement's very important. And then authenticity. I talk about this a lot, and I talk about this a lot with people in the healthcare industry because a lot of times I think there's a hesitation about what I should or shouldn't say on Instagram because I have to be so careful being in the healthcare industry. So being authentic, being truthful, not making any diagnoses online, but still sharing information will all be important components to build that authenticity. So here are the things that we hear from our clients all the time. I post all the time, but my followers aren't growing. I'm running a busy clinic. How am I supposed to find time to post? I can't come up with any more ideas. And when will I start to see growth in my business based upon Instagram? And I'm not sure if anybody else out there has any other problems or symptoms for their Instagram. If anyone wants to add any other problems that they have with their Instagram.
Yeah, I know we hear that second one all the time. We work with a lot of very busy practitioners, and as doctors, they are keeping up so much with all of the amazing, things that are happening in the field and just making sure that they're treating their patients with as much care and concern as possible. That does not leave time to do social media posting. So that is definitely the thing that we're hearing the most. I would love to hear other people's thoughts too.
Yeah, I would agree with you on that. It's definitely a time issue, and it does take some time. So, I mean, it's perfect that she's giving us these tips so that they can hopefully, take that to their practice and feel that they can at least dive in there a little bit.
Yeah, and do what they do best. Well,
Mm-hmm.
while letting Instagram kind of take care of itself with these tips.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Great.
So how to cure your Instagram woes then? So it's the time component and all the other issues really start to fall away when you really focus on that targeted and engaged followers. We talked about it doesn't have to be that large followers. So demonstrating who you are and that you really care about your audience will convert that audience into customers. And I want to go through now some very concrete ways to getting your engaged, your followers engaged, as well as really, streamlining what you're doing. So the first thing is to know your voice. When you know your voice, it's going to be a lot easier to come up with compelling content. So understand who your client is, what are their problems, and how you are going to solve their problems.
And Joanne, I assume you mean like as far as voice. I know some people are more business-like as a doctor. Some people are very warm. Some people are very educational. Some people are, more collaborative. You're talking about that kind of a voice, right? The sort of impression that you give people in your work.
I am. It's not only, yes, you are right. It's to express who you are. So if you like to be funny and humorous, or if you want to be serious or academic, but it's also understanding who your customer is and how you're going to help them. What is your specific niche that you want to focus on? And then how do you relay that information to your audience. So and I'm going to kind of jump to fine tune your bio and come back to this. One of the ways that we talk to our clients about how to understand not only their target audience, but how they want to use their content or use their value proposition in their content is to look at other possible maybe competitor Instagram accounts or websites and look at how they are communicating to their audience and taking a look and seeing if that's something that resonates with you as well. And then spending that time, that initial time, to really outline, I'm going to work with my clients on, let's say, women's health in hormones. So what are the symptoms that I want to solve? How do I want to work with them? Do I want to do one-on-one sessions? Do I want to build a training program? All of those things are going to come into knowing your voice. The fine-tuning your bio is also a piece where you can, again, take a look at some competitors that may or may not have a similar type of look and feel as yours, and look at how they're presenting themselves in their bio. Your bio should have your face, your headshot, and it should be, again, focused on the problems you're solving. I help women feel vitality through hormone therapy. I'm, kind of making things up. So you want to focus that bio on the problems you're solving. You also want to post consistently. I know that this may go against the time problem, but I promise I'll have some ways to make the time work in your favor. But posting consistently and figuring out what that cadence is going to be. So if it's time 3 times a week, set aside to, and then collaborate. Now, collaborating is what we're doing here today. Collaborating could be finding an adjacent practitioner. Maybe if you're a naturopathic doctor, you could find a chiropractor or a dietitian, and you work together to create webinar content or do an Instagram live, which is a great way to get more eyes on your Instagram, but also the person you're collaborating their audience will also see your live and your feed as well. So that's a great way to get a lot of new followers. So there are also the Instagram has an algorithm, and you might hear this a lot out there, the Instagram algorithm. And the Instagram algorithm is what is used to get you the engagement. And so there are, in this order, are the top 3 types of posts that get the most engagement.
Hey, so Joanne, sorry, for people who may not be familiar yet because they're brand new to this, can you define exactly what engagement is for the audience?
Good point. So engagement is with the likes and the comments that you get on your posts. So the more likes and comments you get on your post, the more Instagram will show your posts to other people. Instagram, it takes that. If a lot of people like your post and comment on their posts, it says to them, oh, this is a good post. We should show other people.
Isn't that interesting? Because that kind of rewards the sort of clickbait kind of things that a lot of us will engage with too, just because we have to see what's going on. But I can see why people take that strategy, because if engagement really does move your post up in the rankings, you want people to pay attention to your post, right?
Well, yes. And that's a good point. I mean, there are a lot of people that are posting things that are just to get engagement, that are maybe a gimmick or a gag. But people also want authentic material. They want something that speaks to them. And I've used this, I've been kind of talking about this hormone, women's health and hormone, right? As an idea, as a, maybe a type of a symptom that you may be solving as an example. So if I am a woman and I'm looking at content that happens to be, I'm like, oh, I'm thinking about, I'm entering menopause and I'm thinking about hormones and I'm looking at content about hormones, Instagram knows that. And so it's going to start showing me more content like that. So it isn't just about the clickbait and the, you know, cute dogs or someone doing something funny that you're going to watch. It's also going to learn what I look at and show me more of that content.
I definitely see that in my feed. The more I look at, for instance, healthy recipes, the more healthy recipes it starts to show me. That's a really good point. Thanks.
Yes, mine is Chihuahuas. I get a lot of Chihuahuas in my feed.
I'm a Chihuahua lover too, Joanne.
Yeah, I've got the dogs. I mean, yeah, dogs pretty much on my Instagram feed.
Yeah. So with that, the videos really get the most engagement, and those are the reels. So if you post twice a week and do an Instagram live once a week, you are going to grow your Instagram very quickly.
Well, that doesn't sound too hard.
It's not. Reels should be 30 seconds.
Oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm.
An Instagram reel for 30 seconds. Anyone can record for 30 seconds, right?
Correct.
Wow.
And all you do is you take your phone and you record yourself, and that's it. And you could just be the latest tip today or the latest, whatever you want to talk about. The Instagram live might be a little bit more work to coordinate, and having someone to do an Instagram live with might be a little bit more of a coordination. But at least do the reels twice a week, if not more. And those are getting the most engagement on Instagram.
So do those have to be all business related, or could they have, some of the personal things like their dogs in there, kind of like a mixture of the two?
100%. So I did a reel that got 17,000 views, and it's of my desk.
Is it a fascinating desk, or is it just kind of a normal desk?
It's a how do you set up your office to present like we are? So it's how the ring lights are set up in the background. So it's got music, and it's 8 seconds.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, so, I watch something that's 8 seconds. That's
so it could be yeah, it could be fun. It could be serious. It could be an announcement. It could be, how you're feeling that day. It could be, hey, have you tried this? It could be any number, you want it to be varied.
That's fantastic. I can imagine several times a day, a functional medicine or integrative health provider probably has a thought cross her or his mind that they'd love to share with their audience. Just a health tip even, or just if you find yourself feeling like this, one of the things I look at is, this nutrient, or run this test, just a heads up for everybody kind of thing, maybe.
Absolutely. So the next type of post that gets the most engagement are the carousels. And you've probably seen these where you can swipe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, swipe through the pictures, yeah.
Yeah, and so you can build out, like 3 tips to, a healthy diet, whatever that is, 3 tips to feeling more vitality. And it could be you just build the 3 posts, and when you load them in, it's something that somebody would swipe to read.
3 tips, or 3 ways that vitamin C helps you do XYZ, or 3 tips to sleep better tonight.
Correct. And then the final, or the regular blog, or the regular posts that we've all been seeing on Instagram that people do all the time. It's whether it's a picture or a graphic. But what's really popular right now are microblogs. Microblogs are maybe 150 words in the blog or in the post. So
Mhm.
it's a post with the graphic or a picture, and then again, more tips about or whatever you're writing about, if it's about health, if it's about wellness, if it's about how you're feeling that day. And it doesn't have to be up to, 150 words, but it should be longer than 1 or 2 sentences. Now, that doesn't mean you have to do that with every post, but if you have a mix of these types of posts on your feed and a cadence and a rhythm, you will start to see your engagement grow. Now, here is the prescription for content. Now, people want to know, how am I going to come up with topics? So what we do is help our clients break the topics down into different categories. So evergreen content is it's content that has no expiration. It can just be a simple quote, maybe, or it could be, just one little tip that you may want to put out there. And what's nice about evergreen is if you need to move it in your calendar, you can. So that if you have it, let's say, scheduled for next Monday, but you changed your mind, you want to post something else on Monday, you can move it to somewhere else. You want to educate. So you want to provide data, tips, advice. Of course, that doesn't diagnose, but you want to be sure that you're providing value to your audience so they want to read what you're talking about. You want to also relate. You want to talk about me. It could be about yourself. It could be something about that's a little bit more personable. It doesn't have to be personal, but it just shows that you have empathy, that it shows that you understand how they're feeling. You want to do inspirations, so encourage or quotes will also create a great loyalty to your brand. You want to ask questions of your audience. So, what did you do today that is working for you with your diet, with your health, with your sleep? And then you want to sprinkle in content that converts. So that converting doesn't mean you're just selling. A conversion might be you want them to go to a webinar, you want them to show up at a live event, you could do a testimonial, you can
So something
promote.
that you're hoping that an action that your audience is taking, basically, of some
Yes,
sort or another. Okay, got it.
yes. And you want them to take an action, and you want this to be all sprinkled throughout your feed. But this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 point. The numbers right there, 6 points. Why am I counting it? 6
Just
points.
double checking the prescription is right.
Yes, that's a week of content. When you break it down, that's a whole week of content that you've just thought of different ways of putting that together.
Oh, you make it sound so easy. I love this.
She does. I'm just like, I'm feeling inspired to go post on Instagram.
Yes, let's bring it up and do some background work.
So now we're going to I wanted to talk about hashtags because people ask us all the time about hashtags. So this also has to do with how people are going to find you. Some people follow accounts and some people follow hashtags. Somebody might follow a hashtag that just is called wellness or tips for wellness. And they will see your feed because of that. They will see your post because of that hashtag. So finding the right mix of popular hashtags is going and also relevant to your posts is a great way to get more of your post out to more people. It's okay to use custom branded tags occasionally, but people aren't looking for those. So I wouldn't use those a lot. I would maybe use them sparingly. And I always get the question, how many to use? I mean, use 2, use 5, use 11. Too many It's a little annoying. It feels a little spammy. So the consensus is 11 is the number to use.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've seen those posts on Instagram where it's one line of text and 18 lines of hashtags, and I think I just sort of visually skip past those.
Correct. Now,
Mhm.
the other thing people do sometimes is they put the hashtags in the first comment.
Okay.
And that way people don't have to scroll. They can just see that your content. They're not distracted by the hashtags, but Instagram will still find that post to show people.
Nice.
The other thing people like to do is use emojis, and you can use emojis in your mini blogs instead of writing if you're doing bullet points, instead of doing bullet points, use little fun emojis. So if you're talking about botanicals, you can use a little plant emoji. You can use little arrow emojis. We like to use little down arrows if we want people to keep scrolling. It just breaks up all the content. And the other thing I like to use emojis for are to post on other people's accounts. So I will go into my Instagram and post and like other people's posts. And you could do this with adjacent healthcare practitioners and like their posts and make comments on their posts and add emojis on that post. And that will also help you get more followers and liking on your posts.
Oh, I have a quick question about the researching the hashtags. Do you happen to have any particular resources or direction in terms of how people who are brand new to this could go about doing that research?
That's a good question. So there are tools you can use online if you Google. I haven't found one that I love, but there are tools you can use online. You could just do a Google search and see. I actually just use Instagram. So if I'm going to do a post about, let's say I'm doing a post, I'm going to use the hormone health again. If I'm doing a post about that, if I type hashtag and I start typing hormones, you will see it come up in your
Yeah.
Instagram, and then you look this 2
It like
million,
populate.
and then the more popular it is. So you want to have a mix. So if someone has 2 million, posts on one topic and 2,000 on another, you might want to use the 2 million one, but you can still intermix it. So it all doesn't have to be the big ones. It could be some little and some big. So you want to have a mix, but play around with it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, my question about the large one. So I'm guessing, I mean, because it's a larger pool, does that make it more competitive to get those eyeballs on that particular hashtag, or does that mean it's like dispersed more?
Oh, sort of hidden in the big ocean. Sure.
Yeah, I mean it is, but Instagram will say you'll have a better chance of having your post seen with the bigger hashtags, with the more posts.
Okay.
But it's a combo of everything, right? It's an algorithm, so it's looking at a lot of different factors. So it is looking at your engagement, it's looking at your mini blog posts, right? So it's looking at all that content, much like evaluating what the words are in there, and it's looking at the hashtags.
That makes sense as to why you say mix it up then. That's great.
Mix it up. Yep. So now these are our agency's top tools that we use to schedule. So the reason you want this scheduling your posts is a huge time saver. So if you have all of your posts scheduled at least a few days in advance, if not 2 weeks in advance, you're not rushing. So you take the time, like every Monday or at 3 p.m., I'm going to do my posts for the next week. And there are some really great tools out there. Now, this is new for Facebook. Meta now has a scheduling tool. It's newer. It's free. To be frank, we don't use it. So, but it's a great way for you to schedule your posts, and not have to be worried about it the day of and come up with an idea on the fly.
Yeah, that doesn't lead to very good posts, I've found
No.
personally.
Yes. Another great tool is Canva. We really recommend Canva. Canva, you can design your posts, and they've also added a scheduling tool within Canva. So I would recommend checking that out, because it's kind of everything that you need is in one tool. But the one that we love the most is Sprout Social. It's a little bit higher cost, but it really has an amazing way to build out your calendar, and it has some amazing analytics. So as I was talking about those hashtags, you're really going to be able to see what hashtags are performing best, what types of posts are performing best, so that you really can start to understand what you need to do to make your Instagram better. Because really, as with all marketing, Landy and Jennifer, you know this, it's all about testing. We don't really know what's going to work and what isn't going to work. So we want to be sure to, be able to see that analytic. Now, Meta will show you the analytics as well, but we just prefer the Sprout Social tools.
Sure. Now I know Facebook you mentioned is free. Canva is free too, or you can pay. I know it's $12.95 a month for the Pro account, which is a bargain for the graphic design that you get to use for that. What does Sprout Social run about per month? Just
it's
so that
probably more like $100 a month.
Perfect, but it has a lot more functionality.
So, it has a lot more functionality.
Got it. Thanks.
Now, I know that you might be thinking, this still sounds like a lot. It still sounds like I have to do a lot of work. So what if there is another way? So that's what we're doing. As I mentioned before, we're starting to give away all of our secrets. So we've built a program, The Cure for Instagram Fatigue and the Prescription for Success. And this program is going to have training videos in depth on all of those things that we just talked about, including developing your value proposition, understanding your target audience, understanding your content, all of that about your messaging. We're going to have worksheets and documents to help you with all of those intricacies on building out your plan. You're going to get brand style sheets and all the Instagram graphics in Canva, all built out for you that you can select from, so that you have the templates that you need, the patterns that you need, so you can build out a beautiful feed. You do want your Instagram to look beautiful as when you look at it as a whole, and this is what's going to give that to you. We also have 365 days of content, prompts, emojis, and yes, sorry, I forgot for a second. So that all that content is built out for you, and ideas. So you don't even have to, you fill in the blank. That's all it is. So it's all built out for you. You don't even have to think about it. And we have a private Facebook group where there will be weekly webinars on all of the information, and as well as Q&A. So you will have access to me to help with you each step along the way. It's a 6-week program, and you'll be a member of that private Facebook group forever. What's also nice about that private Facebook group is you will find people that you can partner with who are also on the same journey as you are, so that you can meet people and do those Instagram lives with them. So we have a special offer. It ends September 10th, and it's Route 20. So you get 20% off of the program if you use that coupon, and it ends September 10th. And the URL is gla-marketing.co/Instagram. So if you go there, type in that code, you're going to get that 20% off. But remember, it is expiring September 10th.
That sounds like a wonderful offer. So you clearly are going to be very involved in this group. So it's not just something where people get the videos and they get all these worksheets and they get all these job aids and these design elements and everything, but then there's no help. If they have a question or if
Yes.
they have a want some clarification, you are there in that group actively helping people out. That's wonderful.
Well, and it's like hiring an agency at a fraction of the cost. You're
Yeah.
going to get everything you need for the year so that you can just take your Instagram to the next level.
I
Mhm.
mean, as an agency owner, I'm kind of mad about this, but as a human being, I am happy about this because we all know people who, do not want to, at this point in their development, put out the investment that it takes to work with an agency. And for the people who don't have the money to work with an agency and don't have the time to be doing all of their social media themselves because they're busy growing their business, this is the ideal solution. I really love this, Joanne, what you're putting out here.
Yes, and also the people are good. They're going to grow from this. They're going to grow their practices, and they're going to get to a point where then they're going to come back and hire an agency. And that's why we're doing it. We know that it's going to help healthcare providers grow their practice. And so that's why we're doing this. We're giving it away now for this discounted price because we know that we're going to help people grow to the next level.
We are all about helping people. That's why we all focus here in our agencies on functional medicine and integrative health providers because our heart is in helping people help people
Yes,
get better. So that's wonderful. I'm
absolutely.
so glad to hear it.
Now, you also can contact us. We do have a Facebook group, which is a free group, which will also be providing weekly webinars and mastermind courses in that free group. And that free group is GLA Marketing Secrets. If anyone wants to join, they're welcome to join that free Facebook group.
Wonderful. Joanne Hernan from Growth Ledge Agency. You've been a delight to talk to today. Landy, any questions,
Yes,
any
it's
thoughts that you
been.
wanted to throw out there before we wrap up?
Other than thank you for sharing all the great information, and
Yes.
yeah, it pretty much seems like a turnkey program, and just, geez Louise, just having 365 days of prompts. I
Yeah.
mean, that in and of itself pays for the program. So it's great to see that you're offering this, and thank you so much for being our guest today. It was an absolute pleasure to visit with you again, and I think we can close it out.
Yes, thank you. All right,
Any
that was
last
a lot of fun, you guys. I hope it
Yeah.
was a lot of information. So I really thank you too for letting me do this webinar today.
Oh, thanks for all the great
Of
tips for our
course.
viewers. I think you actually I've been working in marketing for a while and you actually gave me a tip on Instagram that I had never heard or known before and I cannot wait to implement myself. So, thank you, Joanne.
All right, thank you. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks so much.
Bye.